Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 13 of Adventures in Happiness. My name is Vanessa Kinsey. I am a life management coach passionate about authenticity, simplicity, and connection. My philosophy is based on taking radical responsibility for your own happiness. And this is my show where I introduce you to people, places, and ideas to inspire you to do just that. Now, here with us today, as you can see, we have here Tasha Cole. I'm really excited about this. I'm vibrating out of my seat right now. I have so much I want to talk to you about, Tasha. You know that I had to hurry up and push the start button because I was getting all into our conversation. So, hello, first of all, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, your big smile brings so much happiness into the world. I love that about you. But before we even get started and talking about you, because I have a lot of questions and a lot of things I want to talk to you about, I just love the way that the divine works in my life. And when I do these shows, so often I really like to come from a place of inspiration. I really do like to ask my source, the divine. I like to ask for guidance on who the world needs to hear from next, basically. And I have had a guest lined up for today, and she had some other things that made much more sense for her to do today, and I will have her on at some other point. But I don't get discouraged when things don't work out the way that I had previously planned, because I know that there is something energetically that I could feel it. I just feel that. And so the funny thing is, this just happened like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
Yeah.
Where, so I knew I was going to have an opening, and I had just recently started opening up my calendar for scheduling for the next 2 months. And I have a list of people and I've had an ongoing list of people that I want to talk to and interview. But like I said, I really kind of wait until I feel it within my heart that it's time for me to talk to them. And I don't know any more about it than that. I just wait for the energetic hit within myself for the timing to line up and be right about that. And the really funny thing about this with you is, and some of you may have seen this on my page yesterday, I had put up this book. It's called Liver Rescue from Medical Medium. I've had the book for a couple of weeks since right after it came out. I've been investigating and reading, and I'm a researcher, so that is what I do. But it's been something that's really been calling to me, that I know within myself there's some things that I need to, I need to support myself better nutritionally in what I'm doing. And so the other day, Tasha, what day was that? A couple of days ago.
I believe it was, I want to say Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday? I think it probably was. Okay, because I think it was the same day.
Yep.
Tamisha Campbell's here with us, and I want to say hi to her. Hi, Tamisha. Thank you for being here with us live. Okay, so you put this post up. And I think the first part of it is, let me show this, because I think this was the first part of the post that really inspired people. And let me put this up by itself. So let's talk about this post and what you talked about in this post.
Wow, Vanessa, this post, I was at my mom's, and it just came to me, just like you said earlier. I do my best to keep my spirit open to God, so he can lead me by his spirit on what he wants me to do throughout the day. And I usually don't do things like this. So I was here at my mom's, and I was like, Mom, take a picture of this. I was like, these pants are so big on me. So I just pulled them back, and the first thing came out of her mouth, she was like, Tasha, don't lose any more weight. And I was like, oh, Mom, I said, that's not my main goal. I said, but it's happening, so I'm just going to flow with it. So she took a picture of it. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, my goodness. She's like, Tasha, you are thin. I was like, oh, wow. So I said, well, I'm going to put this post up, and tell everybody, look what celery did to me, and it's taken a lot of this junk that's out of me. Back when I was 18, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is the worst kind of crippling arthritis anybody can have. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to be eating all this junk. And I started this journey actually 2013, but I didn't stay consistent with it. Vanessa, I'm telling you, I was doing really good. I went cold turkey, everything. I cut off all
Well,
sweets,
wait a second.
meats.
Wait a second. Hang on. I'm going to stop you because there's a lot to this. There's a lot to this story. And I didn't know. I just want to let everybody know. Now, I have not talked to Tasha ahead of time about this. And so I have so many questions for you that I think that are interesting questions because I did not know that you had rheumatoid arthritis. And I do know someone that has that, and I know how devastating and debilitating that is. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when you were 18, you were diagnosed with that. What was going on? Were you having symptoms of something at that point that made you like when you went to the like did you go to the doctor because something was going on with you, or did you just find that out like ahead of time, like before you started having symptoms of it?
No, I didn't go right away. My daughter was born in 95, and I was fine. Everything was good. And she was turning 1 in 96. Her birthday is in November the 28th. And she's turning 1. So it's like soon as she turned 1, this is where all of the pain started coming. I noticed that in the mornings I was waking up, I was sliding my feet because I could not, you know, pick them up. I noticed that my hands were like this because they were so stiff and painful. And it would take me like an hour or two to kind of loosen them up. So that went on for like maybe 3 or 4 days. And I told my mom and my dad, I said, Mom and Dad, I said, this has been happening to me every morning. And I don't know what's going on. So they was like, well, let's take you to the doctor. So I went to
Well,
the
wait a
doctor.
second. Were you in like pain? Are you saying
Oh,
like
yeah.
you were aching, like your joints were
Yeah.
aching?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I was in some serious pain. So when I went, the doctors did a lot of tests. I told them my symptoms, and they came back with the results of lupus because of what it was mimicking
Mm-hmm.
in my organs and everything. So they retested me and they said it was rheumatoid arthritis. So I got a specialist and all of that stuff. And then my specialist told me, he said, after going to him for a while and trying all these therapies that wasn't working, my body was rejecting all of this stuff. And I'm like, Lord, I'm like,
What do you mean,
Mom,
like medication?
oh yeah, medications, methotrexate,
Mm-hmm.
all these medicines. My body was rejecting it. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't taking it. So I was sick a lot and just was going through a lot. And I had pain from my neck all the way down to my feet.
Mm.
When I tell you I had pain, I had pain. It was excruciating. And I could not walk well at all. I could not tie my shoes. I could not button my daughter's clothes. I could not put on her clothes. I couldn't pick her up. I couldn't put my clothes on. I couldn't do any of those things. Those daily living things that we depend on every day. I couldn't do none of that.
I'm going
I
to
couldn't
stop you
do
right
anything.
here. Here's what I want to talk about, and this is what I think is really, what I think people don't understand, and they take their health for granted, is
Right.
that you can be a complete normal functioning person, and
Mm-hmm.
now this is the second time I've heard that story, and I have a similar story of my own. You can be a completely normal functioning person
Mm-hmm.
and wake up one day and have something like this that's so debilitating and so devastating and so life changing about this. My boys, I have two little boys that are, well, they're not little anymore, but they're 11 and 13 now. But when the second one was, I think he was about 2 or 3, I was diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency, and
Mm-hmm.
it was unreal how awful and devastating that was. And the second time I had it twice, pretty much back to back. The second time it took me an entire year to heal. And what's funny about that is before that, I've always been a very, very healthy person. I've always studied nutritional health and healing and holistic living for many, many
Mm-hmm.
years. And so this really caught me off guard because I felt like I was really gypped. Like I felt like I was doing everything right
Yeah.
in terms of what I was eating. I was a vegan before my son was born. I've always just been very conscious about the foods, and I know that I'm very affected by what I eat. But what I didn't know is how what happened to me wasn't caused or necessarily due to what I was putting in my body. It was the thoughts. It was the way that stress was affecting me. And so, I think, and especially I think this is, when we're talking about this book coming out and this liver. So what ended up happening with you is, okay, so let's fast forward to 2013. So in 2013, because this has been that was a long time that you had been dealing with trying to heal yourself. And that's incredible, because I know I was like this for a year where I was sick. People, you couldn't tell that I was sick from looking at me, but I would have to go to work because we had to have my health insurance, or I had to be able to pay for it. And I would go home and go directly to bed. I spent the entire summer in bed. I couldn't do anything. I was so exhausted. I couldn't even walk to the shower. So when you're talking about you trying to heal for so many years, I mean, that is, and until people have been where you do not have your health, you do not know what an awful feeling that is, because it is so, you just want answers. Right. So let's talk about 2013. What happened then?
So in 2013, but let me just say this, Vanessa. What I did not know was the food the food was a contributor of that. But later on, it was revealed to me by God that it was my unforgiveness of myself, of having my daughter out of wedlock at 17, that was the underlying root of the problem. That unforgiveness was rotten in my bones. So fast forwarding up to now, eating, and I was like, okay, I got to eat right. I got to do right. I got to do better. I don't want this inflammation. The mucus, I had excess mucus in my body, which was another thing that I came across, that I realized that was causing the pain that I was having. I mean, my doctors told me that I was going to be in a wheelchair by the time I was 25. You don't see me in a wheelchair. I'm standing up. I'm 40 years old now. So
that is taking radical responsibility for your own happiness. And that's what everybody needs to know that they have to do, because there is no one coming to save you. If you think you're going to get sick and you're going to go to the doctor and they're going to fix you, you got another thing coming. You have to heal yourself. And I love that you talked about the emotional component of that. Louise Hay wrote a book, and perhaps you've seen it, called You Can Heal Your Life. And within that book, it talks about the emotional component of all sorts of different diseases and conditions and afflictions. And it's like, if you have this going on, what does that correlate to? And until you learn how to fix those things within you, get to the root of the problem, which is what you're talking about. You got to the root of the problem. And, but you did the work to get there. You didn't just sit there and have that answer drop on your head. You did a lot of digging and soul searching for yourself. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah. So my leading up to now, a friend of mine, she knows about, the health challenges that I have been going through. And she's like, Tasha, you have to go on Instagram. You have to look at this guy. His name is Anthony. They call him the medical medium, and you need to drink celery juice. And I've had celery juice before, but not by itself. I've had it with other fruits and vegetables. She said, no. He has this movement going where you just drink celery juice straight on an empty stomach. She said, Tasha, I truly do believe this is going to help you with your inflammation and everything else that's going on. And I was like, okay. And I just believed her. I believed what she said to me. I believed that this celery juice that was going to help me. So I did it. I did it 2 times and I stopped, and my taste buds was fighting me. They were
okay, like, listen, Tasha, I have a surprise for you. I have a big surprise for both of us, actually. My husband and I have juiced for many, many years. His mother when I met him in 1997, his mom had been diagnosed with cancer and was in, we didn't know it at the time, but she passed away shortly after my meeting him. But she was diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months to live, and lived, I think, 8 or 9 years. And part of her routine, her regimen, was juicing. So my husband, Brandon, introduced me to juicing. So we've been familiar with juicing for many, many, many years, and we make some really incredible juices. But I have to admit to you that I have never had celery juice on its own. And I do have to say, well, first of all, I've had from Trader Joe's. Do you have Trader Joe's where you live?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went, and I've been buying more juicing things just because I've been on my own thing. Of my naturopathic doctor had given me like a prescription about a year ago that I needed to be starting to have more fruits and vegetables and for hydration purposes,
Yeah.
basically. So anyway, so last weekend when I was at Trader Joe's, I have, a bunch of bags of carrots. There's a juice that I make that's carrots and celery and garlic and blah, blah, blah. But I bought a couple bags of celery hearts with the purposeful intention that I was going to start having celery juice. But honestly, I've been a little bit afraid. So this morning, I knew, I was like, and I heard you talk about this, so about celery juice. I read your post the other day when you were answering people's questions, when you put up the picture that I showed was really you explaining, you put that up and then you started talking about, and I'm not done talking to you about that because I love that story behind that. But I'm going to try celery juice right now. I made celery juice before this and I want to know like how it is. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when I juiced 2 bags of celery hearts, and it made about, well, I always put ice in my juice. I think it made about 12 ounces maybe.
Okay.
So, but this isn't all of it. I have a little bit more in the fridge, but before I ask you any more questions, let's just try this. Let's just see. Ooh. Whoa. Okay. Wow. You know what? My addiction is celery salt. I love celery salt, but okay, that is really interesting. Now I know why people say that you really have to get used to that. It's very,
it's strong.
It's indescribable, really. How much of that do you drink a day?
16 ounces a day on an empty stomach at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Do you make your juice? I mean, I know the rule of thumb on juicing usually is, you make it right there fresh and then you drink it. Is that what you do?
Yep. That's what I do.
And what have you found? What have you found in terms of how much celery do you need to make 16 ounces of juice?
This morning I actually used the entire stalk. It was like, well, maybe just to count, it was actually a whole bag of celery that I used.
Yeah, a big bunch.
A big bunch that made 16 ounces. That's because the stalks, they were like really thin. They wasn't wide like I normally would buy them. And so I had to use the whole entire bunch. But normally I would use maybe 14 and I'll cut them in half and I'll juice them that way and it will give me 16 ounces.
And so when you drink the celery juice, you sip it or do you pound it? Like,
yeah, I use a straw.
Yeah, that's a key. I saw you doing that, and I don't drink my other juice that way, but I was like, yeah, I'm going to need to probably do this.
Yeah, just get it down. Just get it down.
Oh my God.
I mean, your taste buds, yes, are like fighting you because your taste buds have never tasted this taste before. So it's going to be nasty, of course. Yes, I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat and say, oh yeah, celery juice.
It's delicious. No.
Yeah, it's delicious. No, heck no, it's not. But now when I drink it and I'm okay with it. And my body is, and I know when I'm not drinking it, my body tells on me like, okay, chick, you ain't had no celery juice. What's going on with you? So,
well, you know what is delicious? Being healthy is delicious. And that's what I want. I want to have energy. I want to have a stable mood. I have a tendency to have, I go up and I go down. I get depression, especially this time of year when when it starts getting overcast and rainy outside. And, but so so you get up in the morning and you drink your celery juice. I don't know. Oh man. Now I just want to ask you, is there anything, because my routine is not like that. You get up at 5 a.m. Okay, I want to talk about that too, because I want to do that myself. I've been working on that. I used to be a morning person, but I'm not anymore. No, I'm working my way that way. Anyway, so when you get up in the morning, you go straight to your celery juice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I go straight to my kitchen. I prepare it and I juice it and I drink it down every morning. People say, well, I don't want to do all this cleaning, and I'm like, no, I want my body to be healed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the work. So if this is part of my work, then I'm going to do it and be done with it.
Yeah. You think this is hard? Try being sick. Being sick is really hard. No, that's hard.
Yeah.
But you know what I was thinking when I was juicing this? I thought, I was like, you know, thank you, Anthony and Medical Medium, for that, for celery being the thing that we juice, because of all the things that you could juice, that is really a simple thing to prepare. Yep. And to clean up from. Except I will say it's very important that you use fresh celery. I know in my juicer, if the celery is starting to it gets very stringy, and my juicer gets all mashed up with the celery. So you have to have really fresh celery. Yeah. Along that lines, do you shop for your celery all at the same time, like once a week, or do you a couple times a week go get celery?
I do it once a week. And I get a lot. I buy out their celery. So when they see me coming, they know that celery is gone. It's gone.
My friend Donna just jumped on, and I'm so happy that she's here. Donna, thanks for saying hello to us, because she saw my post yesterday where I basically said, who wants a bright, shiny new liver for Christmas? Because that's what I want. I want a bright, shiny new liver for Christmas. And I am planning on doing some sort of group or something about this so we can do this together. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do. I want to be more familiar about what I'm getting myself into first. And first of all, I wanted to see, Donna, you missed it, but I am having for the first time celery juice. So Tasha.
You need a red straw.
I know I do actually have one, but I couldn't find it. So it's very festive.
Yes.
Tasha, do you think, here's what I was a little worried about. This is why I'm glad I got to talk to you about this, and this was such perfect timing. Did you notice when you first started drinking celery juice that you had any kind of, like, I almost said to myself, maybe I shouldn't have this celery juice live on the air in case something happens to me. Should I maybe go easy on it? Should I maybe not drink 16 ounces the first time? Or do you think I should just go for it and try it?
Go for it and try it. I'm going to tell you why. Because when I drank it for the first time, 16 ounces, I actually timed it, how long it would take to go through my system. I'm going to tell you what I've done. And my daughter, she's probably, if she listens, sees this replay, she's probably like, Mom, really? Come on. I was talking to her. It was about 7:30 by this time. And I had drunk it at 5:30. And I was in the car getting ready to go. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to go to the bathroom. But I hurry up and hung up the phone with her. It took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to go through my system. So your first time, yes, you better be prepared to go. You better be prepared to go. You're going to have a lot of gas. I'm just going to tell you that, because it's cleaning out your gut and all that stuff. It's cleaning all that stuff out. You're going to have a lot of gas. So tell Mr. Brandon, you apologize. You sorry. You didn't mean to.
When you started doing this, though, I mean, I know, I just didn't want to get caught off guard. I didn't want to get caught off guard that, so when I first started, here's a good example. When I first started putting coconut oil in my, I put it in my coffee now in the morning, but when I first started using coconut oil and coconut oil came into my life, I started putting it in my protein shakes, and I put a big scoop of coconut oil in my protein shake that I blended up in a blender with ice and stuff. And then I went to Costco, and I got in line at Costco, and it hit me. And I was like, it was the worst. And let's just say coconut oil has a very strong effect on your system. If you're not used to it, I can now drink a lot of coconut oil, but you can't just go from 0 to 60 with that. And that's what I was a little concerned about with my juice. But how long do you think it seems to me that it's going to take me a really long time to drink this. This is only like 12 ounces. I'm just going to keep drinking it as we're talking here.
Well,
oh, that's awful. It is. I have heard people say they add like an apple or something to it to get used to it, but I'm not doing that. I'm getting straight in. I'm going straight in. I want the good stuff. I don't care how it tastes. I'm not doing this for the taste of it. I am doing this because I want to feel good. I want my skin to glow.
Yes.
Okay. So this is you here. Let's put up another picture of you, Tasha. This is you. This is you in the morning, saying good morning to you, kissing your celery good morning.
Yes.
What has it done for you since you've been doing this? Because you've been doing it. How long have you been doing it now?
I have been doing it now, starting over. It's been about a week. been about a week. Yeah. But when I first started, it was back in October of this year. So I took a break because I was like, Lord, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this.
What do you mean? What was going on? Why were you saying that? Because of the effects of it, or because why? What do you mean?
Because it was pushing that gunk and that stuff out of my body. And I was like, Lord, if I drink this and I know I need to go here, I don't want to be embarrassed because all of this stuff is done hit me. So I got scared and I stopped, and I was like, okay, Then I was like, you know what? Just forget that. I'm just going to have to stick to my plan, go back to early in the morning, let it go through my system like I know it can go through my system, and just plan whatever I need to plan after that, and I'm good. So
okay.
now my body is good with it. What's wrong?
No, I mean, it's just, it's funny. It's funny because, I have the book. It's called Liver Rescue. And yeah, there it is. Thank you for bringing yours down. I don't have mine in front of me. I have read, I don't read books from beginning to end anyways, but there's a lot of really great information in that book. My friend Donna is here. I hope you ordered that book today, Donna. And I will talk about getting into how you make these juices and what you do and all. There's more. You got to have the book first, because I think the information. Have you read any of that book, Tasha, yourself?
I just got this book today.
So I think what's really, really, what I love about it is that I think knowledge is so important. I think knowing why you're doing something, it makes the reason behind doing it so much easier when like start talking about your liver and all these things and how your liver really will be your best friend after you start reading that book and you see all the things that your liver does for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and do you drink coffee ever?
I have, yes.
You're not a coffee addict?
No.
You're lucky.
Mm-mm.
My friend's saying your skin is glowing. Tasha, your skin is glowing.
Wow. Thank you.
And Donna is going to get on this bandwagon with us, and I can't wait. So I'm going to talk to her about this, because this is a big deal. Taking responsibility for your health. If you work with me one-on-one, that's the first place that I start with people. You have, like, if you want to go out and build a multi-million-dollar business, or you want to go out and change the world, or you want to go out and do anything, you're not doing any of that until you get your own self straight. You have got to be grounded in your own self. You have got to be feeling good about yourself, and you have to be healthy. I look back at over all the times of my life, especially when I was really sick with adrenal insufficiency, all the things that I was trying to do at that time in my life. And it's like, that is hilarious that I thought that I could make any kind of difference anywhere. Like there's that saying, everybody wants to change the world, but nobody wants to change themselves. You have to start with yourself.
That's right.
Okay. So you coffee, you didn't have to give up coffee. That's one of the things that I'm going to need to. And again, I know this is something that I just, I have these little things like, and I love coffee, by the way. I love it. I have my routine in the morning, but you know what? I'm going to switch. And here's the thing. Here's my philosophy on any kind of change in general. I'm just going to give it a go. People will be like, well, I don't really want to change. I don't want to do that. Right. You were saying that, Tasha, before we got on, the different things people have said to you. Like, what were you saying? I can't remember what you said. Like, I don't want to.
They were saying the two statements that I heard the most was, I hate celery. Is there an alternative? Yes, there's an alternative. However, if you want the benefit of what it can do for you, then I would encourage you to drink it straight. The second thing that people are asking me, well, can I use my blender? Yeah, you can use your blender, but your blender is not going to give you the juice that you need, like a juicer would give you.
I'll tell you that, Tasha, I don't think there is any way in the world that you could drink that if it was not juiced, because it would be, can you imagine that in a blender, like chunky, like you're, oh my gosh. No, let me just tell you, people, right here, right now, you have got to have a juicer. I have a Juice Man juicer. I love it because it's very easy to clean up. And if you don't have a juicer, and you want to look into buying a juicer, my husband and I have been through several juicers in our duration of our life together. And normally he makes the juice, but the other day, since I'm taking responsibility for myself, I said, "Listen, I'm gonna make my own juice for the first time. I'm gonna turn that juicer on by myself." And I was quite surprised about how easy it was to clean up. So that's a really important part of it. If those of you here are watching and and you don't have a juicer, you need to get yourself one. And it doesn't have to be a super expensive one. I know mine isn't. I'm sure mine was less than $100, but definitely look into how easy it is to clean up. Although I will say, right, Tasha, I mean, maybe tell me if this is your experience with just the celery juice. It's really simple. I mean, it's the whole process is much simpler than most of the juice I make are very complicated. Yeah. That's simple.
Yeah, that's very simple.
Simple cleanup, simple preparation.
Oh yeah.
So do you prepare your celery like all ahead of time? Do you have like on Sunday, do you cut it all up or do you just do it in the morning?
I just do it in the morning.
Yeah. I thought it was going to have to be like pre-prepared, but it's really easy to rinse it off and cut it up and put it in there. So
yeah.
Okay. So where are you now with your inflammation then? Is it really helping as far as that goes?
Oh yeah. It's cut down tremendously from what I was going through. My right hand, and I'm just going to show you my right hand. You see that? How it was.
Yeah. Really?
So I could actually do this because it was so swollen and it was doing like this. It was closing up. So now that I've started back drinking the celery juice like I'm supposed to, it's lightened. The swelling is going down in my fingers and I can stretch my hand out. So I actually do exercises with my hands to make sure that I am keeping them mobile and moving and not staying still. I sleep well at night. My concentration is fabulous. I love it. It's just wonderful. Like the young lady said, it's her name Donna, right?
Yep, Donna. She's still here with us.
She said, my skin is glowing. I mean, I don't see it, but other people have told me. They was like, man, your skin is glowing. My mom, she was like, Tasha, your skin is glowing. I'm like, oh, wow. Sleeping good, using the bathroom like I'm supposed to. I'm eliminating when I'm supposed to. And that's
what else
major.
Have you changed? What else have you changed? Because what as far as eating, just real simply, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm sure there's maybe some fast food, I don't know, but usually you have to take some things typically out of your diet too. Are you doing that as well?
Yes, taking that out, absolutely. Now I'm gonna tell you now, I love Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. So I'm having a little challenge with that right about now. So yes, but the other McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff, no, I don't.
Well, here's my thing is potato chips. I am a potato chip and French fry, not French fries just because they're not so easy to come by, like they're not, right. But potato chips. But here's the deal. It's December 1st, which I have to say, I have to acknowledge, I think I can do it now without crying. I didn't do this at the beginning, but today would have been my grandmother Betty's 97th birthday. She is in heaven. Wow. And she was such a huge influence on my life. And I'm so glad to be here with you today, doing something that brings me so much joy instead of being sad about, being in a state of grief anymore. So thank you. Because you know what? What's going to happen with you, Tasha? Here's the thing. You're going to be, first of all, you're so glowing as it is. Your energy is just so crazy. You have that huge infectious smile. When your skin starts glowing, people are going to have to wear sunglasses around you. They're not even going to be able to handle it because you're just bringing so much light into the world. Now this takes us to something really, really, what we're going to get into is talking about you, Tasha. Let's dig deep into you. All right. Now let's talk about, well, since we didn't do a pre-interview, I don't really know how we should go into this, but one of the things that what I love, what I heard you talk about, and what I think that we have so many things in common is, I heard you the other day say that maybe you didn't put it exactly this way. This is the way how it feels, how it's manifesting in my life. But you said you were being called to do something. Did I get that right? Let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell me what that means.
Okay. So my dad, he was a pastor. I grew up in church, and God has called me to minister to people. And I thought that it will always be behind the pulpit, in church, I thought it was always going to be there. But apparently it's not there. It's here, this platform that God has given me to do and speak and give the message that he's given to me. I've had 2 children out of wedlock. Yes. Okay. So the people in the Bible, they weren't perfect people, but God still used them, And at first I was like, God, please, I know you didn't want me to do this. Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to want to hear what I have to say? Well, I had to realize that when I do speak, it's not going to be the words that's going to be my own words. It's going to be his words that he's going to speak through me, because I am a transformational speaker. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a transformational speaker, because the words that come out of my mouth are going to be the words that's going to hit your heart, that's going to transform you. And I always go back to metamorphosis, because in the metamorphosis stage, when you stop being a caterpillar, when you realize that caterpillar is crawling, whether it's on a leaf or on the ground, getting ready to go up in the tree to go in the cocoon, it's getting ready. It knows when it needs to transform. So once that caterpillar goes to that next phase in its life, it's in the cocoon, it's shaking and it's crackling and all this good stuff, because now you are changing and you're transforming into another form, and you're going to become a butterfly. So now I'm no longer a caterpillar, I'm a butterfly, and I'm flying and I'm doing what God wants me to do. I'm saying what he wants me to say, and I am going where he wants me to go. And people, I didn't tell them at first I was a minister. I didn't tell them at first I was a preacher, because people will change on you. They'll be like, oh, I can't do this in front of you. No. I want you to be who you are, because I'm going to be who I am. Mm-hmm. And then one person, they said to me one day, they said, well, you don't look like a preacher. I said, well, what does a preacher look like? I said, what does a preacher look like? They were like, man, you cool. You laugh and you joke around. And I'm like, look, I haven't been saved all my life. I've been through some stuff. So now this platform that God has given me with the podcast, Break the Cycle with TC Knows podcast, and coming on FB Live and meeting wonderful people such as yourself, Vanessa, and talking with you all and sharing my heart, that's what he's given me to do. The message is that he made me evict myself from the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, because that
kicked me out.
I love that you talk about that, and I love that we have that in common, because we are right there on the same trajectory as far as that goes. I am so dialed in with what you're saying, and I'm so glad we didn't have this conversation ahead of time. My name means butterfly. Vanessa means butterfly, and my logo actually up there with a V is a bunch of butterflies with making up that V, if you see that on my screen.
Yeah.
And I'm very much so similar to what you're talking about and what I believe. But even deeper than that, and this is what's really fun, and I'm really glad I get to talk to you about this, because it's something that's taken me. It wasn't probably until even about, oh gosh, I don't even know, within the last 6 months that I would even verbalize this outside and said it to anybody outside. I did a video about it because I was called to do it. I felt called to do it. And let's just talk about that for a second, because I think when people say, I don't know that people really understand when you say, I say it too, what that means. And that's why I thought this was going to be a really great platform to talk about that feeling of what it feels to be called to do something. So tell me how that feels for you when you say God is calling you to do something. What does that feel like to you? How does that come through you?
At first it came through me with uncertainty, because I didn't know what he was going to have me to do. I didn't know when he was going to have me to do, what he wanted me to do, or who, talking to whoever. So now that I have this know-how of where he's taking me with this podcast, with my life. And he's really been keeping me out of the comfort zone. When I tell you, he kicked me out, he evicted me. It's like he took his foot and say, bam, okay, now you need to do this. You need to say this. So the feeling for me now is enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. My mom said, she said, don't ever lose that energy that you have. She tells me that all the time. And I'm so grateful for her wisdom that she pours into me, because that feeling that I know when he's calling me to do something, like I can be sitting on the side of my bed and I can feel something like in the pit of my belly. And I'd be like, oh, I need to do that. I need to go live. I need to say this, because this is what needs to be heard right at that moment. So that enthusiasm that I feel now is no more uncertainty. I'm walking by faith, truly by faith and not by sight. You cannot go by what you see. You have to go by your faith. You have to go with what you know in your gut, because if you don't, then you're going to miss the mark. And I'm not trying to miss the mark, Vanessa. Not trying to miss the mark.
I get what you're saying so much. And this is so exciting for me to be able to talk to you, because, there's so many facets to all of that. But for me, I have been called. I had a vision within myself for many, many years of my life. It's haunted me and taunted me and made me very frustrated and angry and upset and suicidal, honestly, truly at times, because I could see myself. I could see this vision within my, it's a snapshot that I see in my head of myself. And it's so different, not so much now, but before I started taking the action through the fear of the vision that I had was, and I can see it very clearly. I see what I'm wearing. I'm looking at myself. And now I can talk about it. This is only the second time I've really talked about this. And the first time I talked about it, I cried, because the first time I talked about it, I was just admitting to myself in the world, basically, I was accepting what I was cooperating. Cooperating. I decided to cooperate. Some people say chase your dreams. There's a saying I saw recently. It said cooperate with them. I said I was going to cooperate with the vision that was given to me, and that I see myself speaking. Now the funny thing is that the vision that I have in my head, that the picture that I didn't put there, that's there, that's not really what I really can't see myself standing on a stage talking in front of people. That's not but now that I've started doing video, because I knew I wanted to do live video, when I do this, I have never felt more like myself ever than when I'm doing these. And because I know that I am more connected to my source than I ever am when I'm doing these so often. And I'm saying this out loud because you're giving me the platform to talk about this, because I know you understand what I'm talking about. And what I want to help people understand, people that are watching this, I want to help people understand that they too have this calling. They too have things they're being called to do, and that you can step out, that when these things were brought to us, it isn't this feeling of like, okay, it's go time. You're not going to be afraid. This is the scariest thing truly that I've ever done. But I've had some things, actually, there were some things in my life that brought me to the point of not caring about what other people thought about me. That was really the thing that was standing in between me and what I'm doing. I was so afraid what people were going to think of me. I was so afraid of being like, who do you think you are? Like doing this, like, what do you have to offer the world? Right?
Been there, done that.
So what happened with you? I've heard you talk about this before. I've heard you talk about something that happened a year ago or within the last year that really, I think, I'm guessing is what brought you to the fact that you're going to start following your heart too.
Yeah. Well, this year, the early part of this year in February, my life took a sucker punch hit. I actually was a lady that lives in the building that my mom stays in. She sought me out. She found me. She was like, I was looking for you. My son has this property management company, and their assistant property manager is leaving, and they'll need it, to hire somebody else. And I was like, okay. So I followed the directions, the instructions that she gave me, that her son gave her, for somebody to apply. I applied, had the interviews, and I'm just going through this very quickly, but get into the nuts and the bolts of things. went through the interview, did everything that I was supposed to do. And I'm like, okay, everything is going well, God. I know that you had called me. I know you told me that I was going to get this job. And yes, I got the job. I got the job. They offered me the job. However, in the interview process, they did not discuss to me that they were going to do a credit check as far as, you know, my, I knew they were going to do criminal, but they didn't say nothing about credit check. So I'm like, okay, criminal ain't nothing on it but my name, and that's it. So I'm fine. Okay. The day that I was supposed to actually start, one of the owners called me and he said, depending upon what your credit check says, then I want you to do this. I said, okay. So I was supposed to start at 11 o'clock that morning, come to the office, do the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. He did not call me back. He sent me an email and he was like, I'm sorry, Tasha, your credit check came back. We can't offer you the job, you know, because of the nature of our business, which is property management. He was like, you got 5 evictions on your credit. And I'm like, huh? I said, I look at my credit report all the time. I didn't see that. I didn't know that was on there, you know, so I don't know what you're talking about. So I replied with asked him a question. I said, well, if you would have gave me a chance to explain this during the interview process, I would have been able to tell you, you know, there are some times that, you know, my husband and I was going through some things and, you know, life happens. So I wanted to cry, Vanessa. I wanted to cry. My eyes watered up, but no tears was falling. It's like God said, dry your eyes up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just got told that I'm not going to have this job and I need this. No, you don't need this. I'm your source. I provide for you. So the Spirit of the Lord told me 2 years prior, or whenever Facebook came out with the announcement that they were going to be going live and it was going to be done, you know, then we can do it. I actually did it twice. I didn't do it anymore because I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't want nobody knowing my business. I don't, you know, I want my family looking at me because they know me, they know Tasha. And I was like, I ain't doing this, God. No, not doing this. But when that happened, that propelled me into doing what he had already told me that I was going to have to do. So I just made up in my mind. And then it's like all of these events started happening. So I started going live, and then I came upon this challenge. I'd never been a part of a challenge before, where Coach Glitter, she was, you know, teaching, you know, doing a challenge on teaching how to make you more comfortable on FB. And I'm like, oh God, I said, this is like right on time. So I did the challenge and I said, I'm just going to keep doing it. I said, God, I don't know what you want me to talk about, but I'm going to do whatever you say. I started coming on live and I started sharing myself and sharing what he had put in me to share with them. And it just went from there. Some people gave me feedback. It was like, oh, you too long, get to the point, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh.
Hey, okay. When did you do that? When, that's how I met you through there. When was the first time you did that challenge?
It was latter part of February of this year, the beginning of March, I believe it was. That was the first time I did it.
Wow. Well, that's the same time I did it. That was the first time I did it then. I got my timing all mixed up because for some reason I'm always thinking about, but I always think about December, but that's not when I did it. December last year was when I came to the point of like, look, I got to make some changes in my life. I spent the last 2 years in deep grief, deep pain. I'm sad. I am not doing this anymore. I am going to swing for the fences of life. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I know that this is what I'm being called to do. It's a feeling for me. I just know, you know, I had that vision, and then you get this very strong, the same thing happens to me, like what you were talking about. And actually, I really only like to operate, which is why I don't do videos every day, or because I really like to come from the feeling of having inspired action. So what will happen to me, just like what you were saying a little while ago, is I'll get this little tap on my shoulder. It's a little, and all of a sudden, all this information will come to me. And I know it's not coming from me. I know that because it's too, I can feel it. It comes as energy through me. And I can feel it starts pulsating, right? And it's and I'm saying, this isn't really a good time for me right now. I'm kind of busy. I'm a little bit busy right now. Typically, sometimes it happens at work. So I'll be in the middle of trying to get a brief that has to be served. And this whole time I've got this thing sitting on and it doesn't stop. It will not stop this feeling, this energetic feeling. And I think, you know, for anybody that's watching this, and this seems a little bit out there for you, I can tell you that when you start tuning into your own heart and your own connection, and you set that intention to do that, first of all, because you don't go from zero, you don't go from, there's a lot of static in between that until you start practicing how to have that connection. But it doesn't go away until I'm like, okay, fine. Okay. And I got to go out to my car and I got to record the video. And then I'm just like, okay, are we done? Because I've got work to do, you know, and you're really the first person that I've ever heard talk about that and understand that, because I have to say that it can be a very isolating feeling for me, to have these things that it's hard to describe to people. I want to have people know what that feels like. And that's what I hope to help people learn how to do, is to live from their heart and to listen to their heart and to listen to their source and their connection to something much greater than us.
Absolutely.
And so I love that about you, Tasha. I love that. So what is it that you like, so that was the thing. That was the big thing that made you decide to like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So what are you doing? What are you doing now? Like, what's a typical day for you now? How are you being an extension of this calling?
I get up, you know, I pray, I read my Bible plan, and I, you know, get my son ready for school, take him to school, come back, and I do, you know, run errands or what have you. And I come back home, and, you know, my husband, he's there at the house, and we'll go through his schedule because he has his own landscaping business. And I actually became a Lyft driver. So I just started doing that because I want to meet new people. And I fill my car up with praise and worship before anybody else gets in my car. I fill it with praise and worship, and I sing. So when they get in the car, they'll feel the presence of God. They'll feel his spirit. They'll feel his love. So if they're having, you know, not such a good day, you know, before they get out of that car, they're going to feel the love that I'm exuding from me. So that's what I do. And I read, and then I'm preparing now for ICU talks. That's something that I've never done before. I actually auditioned about a month ago, and the CEO and founder, Kim Honeycutt, she gave, I auditioned for 10 minutes. I was like, I want a slot for 10 minutes because I mean, I have experience speaking, but I've never been on a platform like this. And ICU Talks is like TED Talks, but it's God's version of it.
Okay.
So she gave me 20 minutes. And I'm like,
oh, wow. For your audition?
Really? Yeah, I auditioned, and she gave me 20 minutes. And she chose me for be one of the speakers for next year. And so I'm preparing for that. So I told my story in 5 minutes, how I was the female David, but we'll talk about that another time. But that's my day. You know, that is what I do. That's every day, all day. So I'm coming into speaking more, you know, coaching more, especially with this celery juice, you know, movement that's going on. I had no idea I was going to get the response that I got, but hey, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love, you know, you're definitely a born uplifter. I love that you are just out spreading light around the world. I think that that's truly, I mean, that's what I feel that I'm being called to do too. That's what I believe, even though, you know, we may be doing different things. The underlying purpose of that is just to spread light and love to the world. It's what we need more than anything.
Absolutely.
Right now, is to be able to uplift people. And I love that, you know, a lot of times, most of the time, my intention when I leave for the day is I get very excited and think about all the, like, who am I going to meet today? I can't wait to see who I'm going to meet today. And so you have that opportunity. And what I love about that and what you're doing is that you're not just sitting around waiting for people to come knocking at your door. And I think that's what people maybe miss in the fact of taking responsibility for your life, is that you have to get out there and actually be participating in life for those things to actually happen. You make your own luck, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I always ask people some questions, and I was really, really, I really loved what your answers were to the questions that you gave me. And actually, I'm really glad that you told me these ahead of time, because usually I'm going to actually change my questionnaire to make sure that people actually give me their answers, because I'm so excited about all this. So I always ask people what their favorite, music is very important to me. Music is such a huge part of my vibration, really. I use it to bring me up, and I use it to relax me, and I use it for meditation. I use it for so many different things. And I love and I wouldn't have known this about you, really, although I did see you say this on a video the other day. And I'm jealous, actually, because my goal in life, what I wanted to be, I want to be a singer, like on American Idol. I want to be a rock star, but I don't have any kind of a singing voice at all. But when I asked you the question, what is your favorite song? What was your answer?
The song that I wrote.
And what can you just, I don't want to push you on the spot and like make you sing a whole song. But you did say, I think I heard you say that. Are you in a gospel choir?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love that music. If there is not any other sort of music that can touch your soul like that. What is this song that you wrote? Tell us a little bit about it.
I was at my mom's. I was going through some things in my marriage, and I was at my mom's and staying with, just being around her, because her home, when you walk through her doors, you can just feel the peace and the love and the Spirit of God just in here, just surrounding you. And I was praying one day in her living room, and I was crying, just asking God, what is going on? Why is this happening? Fix me, help me. So these words came to me, and I just began to sing them. So I said, Holy Spirit, I need you. And I just kept singing it. Holy Spirit, I need you to fill my heart with your power. Holy Spirit, I need you. And I just kept singing it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just began to cry even more. And I just kept singing it. And I cried some more. And I was like, God, I need your Spirit to help me. Fix me. Fix me. I said, I know that I've been praying for you to fix my husband, but I need you to fix me. Fix me.
Yeah.
So that is the song that I sing now all the time when something is going on, or just praying for this country or the world, period, or people I don't even know. I pray for them. And when it comes on me, that's what I do. So
you have a really beautiful voice. I can really feel that energy. And
thank you.
I can imagine how that feels within you to be able to have that vibration coming through you when you're singing. I believe it's an extension of source coming through you. And I think it's so very beautiful. So the next question I like to ask people is, I like to ask a book that's changed their life. And I love this. I know you're a reader because you gave me more than one answer, right? And so I love, like, book people. It's like asking to pick your favorite child. You can't. You have, I have this one, and then I have this one.
Yeah.
So you told me, and the funny thing is, I don't think I have read, so you told me The Tough-Minded Optimist.
Oh my gosh, that book had me snot crying and
repenting. Really?
Yes, that's by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale.
Oh, Dr. Peale. Okay, because he's amazing. Well, so then he also wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, which I have that book too. I mean, he was so, like, these books were written years and years ago, but they're so relevant, and they're always the things that we need. And really what the whole reason is I ask people these books is because I like to add books to my reading list. That's why I like to know this. I like to have this added to my reading list. Okay, so First Steps to Wealth.
That's by Danny Johnson.
I have that book. I have that book.
That made me snot cry too. That at the end, it did. You know, I love her. She's like, I'm a hot Italian and I love God. You know, she's just amazing. So yes.
She's very, very powerful
Oh yeah.
person, and she has a very powerful story too.
Yeah.
Have you used that book to? Are you have you been doing things like for me many years ago? The book that changed me was oh, now it's this, the name of it just went right out of my head. It was a Susie Orman book, the first book that Susie Orman wrote many years ago. It's a financial book that really helped me get out of debt and really changed my mindset, you know, like 20 years ago about money, basically. Yeah. But I always, I mean, I still have to work on that. I have major money blocks. In fact, I just have coming to realize some things that, you know, I need help with. I'm going to get a new coach. I have a new coach lined up, and I can't do this on my own. Like I need somebody to help me with this stuff. Okay. So then, the last one you had was the priestly prayer of the blessing, which I have not heard of before.
Yes.
Is that like what kind of book is that? Is it a fiction book, or is it like more a book about like with prayers in it?
It's a nonfiction book. It's actually a book about the only prayer that God wrote in the Bible, and it comes from Numbers chapter 6, verses 24 through 27. And Warren Marcus, he is the author, and he's telling his story about how the amulets of that particular prayer were found in Israel. And that book is transforming me so much so that my discernment is so strong. And and you said something earlier, you was like, this may be a little out there, but this may be what I'm getting ready to say now, Vanessa, might be a little out there for some people that will, you know, watch this replay or just watching now. But my discernment is so strong after reading this book that I can hear and see in the spirit when things are happening. And then it comes to life just like that. That's how in tune I am.
Yeah, that's alignment. There's so many words for that, and and I understand what you're saying. I really try. That's all there is, really. There's so much clarity in that feeling when you talk about discernment. What does that word mean to you when you use that word? What does that mean?
To me, that word means that I am listening. I'm not just hearing sound, but I'm not just listening with my ear or hearing sound with my ear, but I'm actually listening with my spirit. I'm hearing and I'm listening and I'm in tune. Mm-hmm. So that means to me that I'm focused. You use the word alignment. I'm getting in line with him, because if I'm out of line and I shift and I go this way, then I might miss something that he might show me that I need or where I need to be at. You know?
Yeah, I think from people that maybe not understand that entirely, it's just maybe being on the right channel. Basically, you're just tuning to the right channel, as opposed to like what you want to watch is on channel 11, and it's staying on channel 11 and not being on channel 6, where it's pretty staticky, or you start hitting some speed bumps or things. You know, it's that's what you're talking about, right? That's what I think that's what I hear you talking about, and that's also the way that I really try to live my life, because when you're on the right channel, and when you're getting these you know, when people talk about, maybe it's different for you, but I just want to clarify some things for people as a way for them to start looking for these things in their own life. Is that when you talk about being on that channel, it's not necessarily, or when you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this may be different for you. It's different for everybody, and you have to find your own alignment with your alignment. It doesn't necessarily mean that you hear words spoken in your ear, clear as day direction. And that's one of the things that was just that's hung me up for so much of my life. Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Tell me. I'm sitting here waiting for you. What? Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing. And it really isn't like that all the time, ever, for me, actually. It's not ever like that. It's more comes from a place of feeling, of being happy, of feeling peace within your heart, of knowing that you're on the right track. And it's a deep knowing. It's something that comes not from your head. It comes from deeper within you. Is that how that works for you too, Tasha?
Well, let me just tell you like this, Vanessa. My son, Jeremiah. I didn't even know I was pregnant with him. Had no idea. So I'm laying in my bed, sleep, minding my own business. I'm minding my own business. And I hear a voice. I know nobody was in the room with me. I was there by myself. I hear a voice that says, "You are pregnant. It's a boy, and name him Jeremiah." I set up immediately. As I got older and realized in my relationship with Christ and building my relationship with him, I was like, God, that was your audible voice that I heard. Now, mind you, I didn't know I was pregnant, and I was nowhere near the point of having a sonogram to know what the sex of the baby was. But I believe what he said. I believe what I heard. And sure enough, Jeremiah is here. He was a boy, and I did exactly what he told me to do. And I was asleep one night in my bed, minding my own business again, this early part of this year. And I hear in my spirit, don't look at your life. Don't look at your life the way it is. Look at it the way you want it to be. And I jumped up and I wrote it down immediately. So, yes.
I am glad you clarified that. I am so glad you said that, because I too do have that happen to me. And it's funny that you say that it usually happens. It usually happens from a point of being asleep and then being awakened.
Yep.
Or right when I first wake up in the morning. And the really important part of that for me, because I'm such a control freak. I'm trying to reform myself, but that is the way when my resistance is lowered, and I look forward to that. Now that you're saying that, it's like, I look forward to being able to have that experience more. The more that I trust, and the more that I get out of the way, and the more that I see my life and not worry. So like what you were just saying is not worrying about the way things should be, and not worrying about seeing what's here in front of me. See with your spiritual eyes is what what that talks about. And really, really, I'm so much on the same page with you. So that's a good point, because that happens. And some people will say, oh, that's just, no, that didn't really happen. But when you have that happen to you, that happened to you, because it is so, I had that happen to me recently, probably about 6 months ago. And it rocked me. It just rocked me, because in fact, I was sleeping. I was in this room, actually. This is my guest room. I was in this room with my son, and I thought he was talking to me, and because it sounded like his voice, and I looked at him, and he wasn't. I had woken up. This voice had woken me up, and I was looking at him, seeing if he was playing a trick on me in the middle of the night. And I'm looking at him, and then the voice said it again, and I said out loud, "Who's talking to me right now? Who keeps talking to me?" And I woke him up, and I said, "Are you talking to me?" And I mean, it was just like, it was very, very powerful. And I've had that happen a couple of times, where you get that from outside sources. Okay, so that is I love that, Tasha. I cannot wait. And this is what is so fun, and why I love doing these interviews. I love doing these interviews because I think one of the things that hangs people up in life, and actually putting themselves out there, which has been one of the things that has hung me up. Like, I don't want to put myself out there, just like you were talking about. I want people, I'm a very private person, actually. I come on here and do this, but I'm actually I'm also a very private person. And so it's like, I don't know if I want to be out there talking about everything I got going on. But one of the things that hangs people up is, first of all, that fear of judgment, of what other people are going to think about them.
Yeah.
but also not wanting to put themselves out there until they make it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm not a speaker up on the stage yet. So why, it's like, no, I want to see the journey. I want to see the journey of where you're going. You still
Wow.
there? Can you see me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, my last question for you. What is your biggest fear?
Oh, not following through on things that I say out loud.
How do you,
Not following through.
well, you know what's so
Yeah.
cool about that is because then when you say something out loud, you already know ahead of time, like you're going to do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
brings us
That's my
to,
fear.
it brings us to the next, my closing question, my closing comment, or a question for you is, so what are you up to now? Like, what are you working on right now? What are you doing?
Okay, so Young Pratt and I are doing a challenge, and it's called 100 Days of FB Live. We are challenging ourselves to go live on FB 100 days straight.
Now, why do you want to do this?
We want to do this because it's going to help not only the individuals that we're going to be reaching, but it's going to help us to stay out of the comfort zone.
Yeah,
Stay out of that comfort zone. Absolutely.
can you preach a little bit about the comfort zone? Because you're really good about talking about that. And I love that because I'm getting really used to, doing this. And since I started doing this, you have to be the person that pushes yourself. You have to push yourself out of the plane. It is the scariest thing ever, but you've got to
Yeah.
push yourself out of that plane. So tell me, before we close down here, talk to me a little bit about the comfort zone, because that comfort zone is what is strangling all of us. All of us are just sitting there just waiting for things to change, just comfortably miserable when there's just so much life and expansion outside of it.
Yeah.
What does
Yeah.
that mean to you, that comfort zone?
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite quotes is from Eleanor Roosevelt, and it says, "You must do the thing you think you cannot do." So when I started this journey in the beginning of the year about going on FB Live after I took Tiffany Levi Masters Challenge, and I just began to go live, and I said, I'm going to continue to do it. So I set a goal for myself. Nobody told me to do it, but I set a goal for myself to do 100 Facebook Lives because that's something that I never done before. I have a fascination list. I don't have a bucket list because the bucket list will keep you in that mind frame of, I got to do this, I got to do that before I die. No, what about living? What about living? I interviewed a guy yesterday. He said that he wants to live until the age of 90, not exist to the age of 90. So
Yeah.
my bucket list, I don't have. I don't have one of those. So my fascination became when I said, I want to do something I've never done before that's going to keep me out of my comfort zone. And I'm just going to have to kick myself in the back and say, look, get out of this circle. You're in a circle or you in a box, which I did a lot. Oh, well, I did a recording a couple of years ago where I was actually inside of a box. But that's another story. But, so this 100 lives going, it's going to teach us to stay in a place where you will continue to grow, not get stagnant, not get in a place where you say, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable doing that. Okay, well, that's the whole point of it. You don't need to be comfortable when you're doing something that has a passion, or you have a passion inside of your heart or in your spirit that you need to do. Nobody else can do what you do when God has assigned those people to your hand. I cannot reach the people that God has assigned to you, Vanessa. I cannot reach those people because God didn't give them to me. He didn't give them to me. So I have to reach the people that he gave to me. So I was reading my Bible plan this morning, and Rick Warren, he said that the children of Israel, they had more faith to leave Egypt, but they didn't have faith to go into the promised land. So with that being said, the promised land is the uncomfortable zone.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to look at that. Yes, totally.
So that's your passion. That's your growth. That's your love. That's your family. That is your business. That is your marriage. That is your children. That is whatever you have in your heart to do to move in that promised land. It's the uncomfortable zone. So in order for you to get there, you got to do something that you never done before. So that's why we are choosing to do 100 days straight of FB Lives. And the challenge is free. And it starts December the 10th. And we're going to finish this, and it's going to end on March the 19th. So Young and I are hoping that we can get 100 people to do this with us, because we never know. That person can come, a book can come out of this, a podcast can come out of this, a speaking, them becoming a coach can come out of this. You never know what could happen. And it's not just for entrepreneurs, it's for single parents, it's for married people, it's for children. We want everybody to be involved in this. So that's why we're doing it.
That's I love that, because I think everybody has a story and everybody has a message and everybody has something to say and to share with the world, even if they don't think they do, and the thing is that people think, I was talking to a girl yesterday about this. She was making a big change in her life and she was afraid about it. She felt this fear and apprehension and she was so scared. And I was like, anytime you do anything in your life, I don't care what it is, whether you get married or you have no matter what it is, when there is a change, there's going to be some trepidation that comes along with it. That's natural. We all think that that's not normal if you feel this way, but it is. And I will say that since I started living from this place of not wanting to be comfortable anymore, because I know that in order for me to change, I have to change. In order for me to change, I have to change. And I have to get uncomfortable. Living life like this is very exhilarating once you kind of get used to it. And it's almost like, as scary as it was for me to push the button the very first time to go live, my hand was shaking so hard I couldn't even find the button to do it. As scary as that was, and I still get very, I can still have some, I don't get on here every single time and I'm like, yay. But I will tell you that excitement and fear are very much the same feeling. If you can think about it from a point of being excited about something instead of being afraid about something, it makes it so much more fun. And I really now crave that feeling, especially if I haven't done a live video in a while, and I don't do them every day. I get that, like, oh, this is going to be kind of fun and exciting. So that's really fun. It's going to be fun seeing the lives that you guys changed, not only for yourselves, the experience that you get, because it definitely, pushing the button every day makes it much easier to go live when you're doing it every single day, but also the people that you're going to meet along your path and the lives that you're going to change. And what I love about doing live video, and this is, I think that you never know the people that you're touching, because oftentimes people don't comment or say something. I know that's true for me. I will watch people's videos and they will say something that affects me, and maybe I just caught it in passing, but it's something that's really changed me and made an impact on my life. And so you just never know who you're touching by being able to do these live videos. And it may not always be that someone's getting on, although I really do appreciate it when people comment. I'm sure you do too, when people comment and tell you that that they resonate with what you're saying, but that's not always the case either. So that's why it's so important to get out and get your message heard. All right, Tasha. Well, I'm going to connect people when I do the show notes for this. I will connect people or let people know all of your contact information that you gave me as far as where they could find you. And I really want to thank you so much for this really great chat. This is the first time that I feel like I've been able to open up about my spirituality. And that's something that I really want to start bringing more of to the table. Like, I'm coming out of the closet with my spirituality. That's something I'm going to start talking about. And thank you for being so open about who you are and what you're doing. And thanks for doing this on the fly. I gave you very little short notice, and I was crossing my fingers that you could do this. Oh, and let's check in on my celery juice before we say goodbye. Yeah, let's see how much I got left to go.
Can you gulp it down right quick?
I don't think I could do that much. I can't do that much. But I will say that as I've been drinking it, it has gotten more, as it does get more, you get more used to it. It does at first. And I heard you say that before somewhere, like your taste buds are like, kind of like shocked. It's kind of shocked by it. My friend Tasha, my friend Donna's giving you a comment here. Thanks, Tasha. Love this. I want to just throw that up there for you, so you know you're spreading the love and happiness and helping people here today. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see the future. I have a visitor. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you. See you on the big stage, see you preaching, see you speaking. It has been a pleasure to talk to you here today.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.